So you want to have instant mobility and flexibility? Well, here it is. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Jason Kelly, creator of The Balanced Body. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Today's segment is about instant mobility and flexibility. Yes, I said instantly. But before I begin, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you can receive future notifications based on more strength, fitness, and health. I know what you're thinking. Anytime somebody says instantly, immediately, strength now, you kind of put up your guard. But I'm serious, you can have strength instantly and you can have flexibility, mobility instantly. It's just, what are you doing to create it? Stretching and moving is just a way of creating flexibility and mobility. But how you stretch and how you move is going to make the difference. We're going to use three things. You need your breathing, which is called reciprocal breathing. We're going to use another method or another process called reciprocal inhibition. And we're going to use resistance. These three things, if you use them in your stretch, you will immediately have instant flexibility and mobility. So for the first one, reciprocal breathing. Reciprocal breathing is when you inhale and you take a deep breath and you hold that tension for a few seconds and then you exhale it out. It's similar to relieving stress in your body where they have you take a deep breath, hold it, and then exhale. Take a deep breath, hold it for a few seconds, and then you exhale. And this is how you relieve stress through your body when you do this for a few minutes. And so when you use this process with your breathing and flexibility and your mobility, it's the same thing. When you breathe in, it creates tension in the system, and then when you exhale, it causes you to relax. And each time you do this, it causes more relaxation further and further and further. And so when you breathe in this way, during your stretching and your mobility work, you get more mobility and you get more flexibility. And the second one is called reciprocal inhibition. If you're stretching your hamstrings, for example, and you contract your quads, you'll feel more stretch in your hamstrings. And so that is what reciprocal inhibition is. So you don't have to totally keep the muscle contracted the whole time, but you can contract it, stretch, relax, contract it, stretch, and relax, and you'll notice more flexibility going to your hamstring or whatever muscle that you're stretching that is the opposite, called reciprocal. And the third way that is an awesome way too is using resistance when you stretch. Most people just stretch their muscle, and that leads to overstretching your muscle, just like the elastic of a sock or your athletic clothes. Over time, you keep stretching in a static way, and it causes force and force and force, and therefore you're doing a little damage each time to your muscle. Also, when you do that, when you static stretch, it steals the springiness from your muscle. And when you go to do jumping activities or running activities, you lose that springiness in order to move fast or in order to move dynamically. And that's something you don't want, because that is what can lead to injury. Stretching won't hurt you, but it's the side effects and the results of the static stretching that will lead you to injury, because you try to create more force or more explosiveness on top of something that just can't do it.
Okay, let's use the lunge position to demonstrate this. So you're going to get into that stretch position, squeeze your glute, and when you stretch, you're going to inhale as you feel the barrier of the stretch. And as you inhale, you're going to exhale after about 3 to 5 seconds of holding that breath, and you should feel the motion open more. And so again, squeeze the glute, you go into your stretch, you feel the barrier, inhale, nasal diaphragmatic breathing for 3 to 5 seconds, exhale, and you should feel more stretch. Repeat this process. And so here's the lunge using your resistance band. You can do it without the resistance band. It actually works just as good, but that resistance band, adding that resistance will give you more flexibility and mobility. And also it will create strength at the same time. And again, when you're doing this, try not to compensate your spinal position. Squeeze your glute, make your glutes work to stabilize your hip and your hip flexor stretch. And so here's the result in mobility when you open up that hip flexor. You get a nice speed and a nice big range of motion. Alright, so here we are doing a lying down leg raise. I'm checking for my how far I can stretch with the leg there in the beginning. And now I'm adding the resistance, the breathing, and contraction of the opposite muscle, the reciprocal inhibition. Okay, you can see how I relax there a little bit, and then I squeeze the quads, and that puts more tension on the hamstrings, and I'm using the resistance to keep what they call the muscle spindles stiff, keeping the hamstring stiff. So it's controlling that stretch at the same time. And that's what I mean about that springiness. You want to maintain that stiffness in the stretch and not just stretch and overstretch your muscle till it loses its elasticity. When you use resistance, it keeps that stiffness. So here's the result after the stretch now, and here is my flexibility before I started. So you can see there's a big difference there. Okay, so I chose thoracic rotation for this exercise here. As you can see, it's the same idea. You're trying to contract that oblique and the opposite back muscle, and inhale and exhale. You're using that nasal diaphragmatic breathing to increase the space. As you can see, I'm getting further and further into the stretch. And so here, now you can see I have really good mobility in my rotation. And like I said, you can do this with any exercise.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and I hope you understand how you can be instantly flexible and mobile. A lot of it's not just about stretching. Stretching is just one means of using processes to make yourself increase range of motion and mobility. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future segments, and make sure you check out this video right here.